a father, a son, a brother, a mate, a co-worker, a neighbour. When a man dies by suicide, it never just affects one person. Families carry that grief for years and years and years.
I call the member for Hunter.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise today to speak about Mental Health Month, and in particular the mental health of Australian men. This is an issue that cuts across every part of our society. It affects every community, every workplace and every family. No matter where you live, what work you do or what your background is, every community in this country has men who are doing it tough, often without saying a word. The truth is simple, Speaker, and it's also very, very confronting. Australian men are struggling with their mental health, and too often they are struggling in silence and also in isolation. Last year alone, 2,529 Australian men died by suicide. That is more than 3/4 of all suicides in our nation. For men aged 15 to 44, suicide remains a leading cause of death. It's ahead of accidents, it's ahead of diseases, and it's ahead of anything else. It's an enormous and preventable loss that should give us all the time to pause and reflect on these horrifying stats. Because behind each and every one of those numbers is a real life. A father, a son, a brother, a mate, a co-worker, a neighbour. When a man dies by suicide, it never just affects one person. Families carry that grief for years and years and years. Children grow up without their dads. Partners lose the person they planned a life with. Mates feel shock, guilt and heartbreak. Communities feel the loss deeply, often for generations. And despite this enormous burden, men remain far more likely to not seek any help. Only around 1/3 of men experiencing mental health condition saw a health professional last year. Many waited weeks or even months before reaching out, and tragically, some never reached out at all. But part of the challenges is that men often show signs of mental ill health in ways that can easily be misunderstood. For many men, poor mental health does not always include and look like sadness. It may come out in anger, in frustration, disengagement, drinking more than usual, withdrawing from mates, losing interest in activities they once enjoyed and loved, changes in behaviour at work, or physical symptoms such as headaches, insomnia, and ongoing stomach pain. These signs can easily be overlooked, Speaker, not because people don't care, but because men themselves have grown up believing they should hide emotions and suppress vulnerability and simply soldier on. For generations, Australian men have been taught directly and indirectly that expressing emotion is a weakness, that asking for help is embarrassing, and that suffering in silence is the strong thing that people should do. This old stereotype is costing lives in this country. The risks are even higher in male-dominated industries such as construction, mining, transport, agriculture, emergency services, defence and fly-in, fly-out workforces. These industries come with long hours, isolation, physical strain, high-pressure environments and irregular shifts that disrupt routines and relationships. Many men in these sectors feel significant pressure to push through and avoid being seen as a burden or a problem. I've spoken to miners who work 2 weeks on and 1 week off, who feel completely disconnected from their families. I've spoken to farmers who carry enormous financial pressures and weight of generational expectations. I've spoken to tradies who will not mention how they're feeling on site because they do not want to make things awkward on site. These experiences are real and they are far more common than many people realise. This is why addressing men's mental health requires a whole lot of community effort, and that is why the Australian Government continues to invest significantly in mental health services, prevention and support. This year, around $7.8 billion is supporting mental health services, suicide prevention initiatives, digital programs and growth of strong mental health workforce. Through strengthening Medicare, more than $1 billion is helping Australians, especially young people, access support earlier and more easily. That includes expanding bulk billing incentives, more affordable psychology and support that meets people where they are. Importantly, these programs are designed specifically for men because we know that one-size-fits-all approach does not work. The men's table gives men a safe, structured and confident place to talk openly with other men. Mates in construction, mates in energy, mates in manufacturing provide practical support for workers in high-risk industries. These programs save lives not just by offering professional help, but by building cultures where it is normal to check in on your mates. Dads in distress assist separated fathers who feel like they are often isolated and unsure where to turn. Dad Booster provides online support for new fathers navigating the huge transition into parenthood. SMS for Dads, developed by the University of Newcastle, sends out simple but powerful messages to new dads, reminding them they are not alone and providing guidance during the early and often overwhelming months of fatherhood. First Nations men who face suicide rates around 3 times higher than non-Indigenous men. Culturally safe services like Brother to Brother and 13 Yarn are absolutely vital. These services are run by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. They recognise the importance of culture, community and connection in healing. The National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Suicide Prevention Strategy, designed with strong community leadership, supports long-term change and local self-determined solutions. But Deputy Speaker, as important as funding and programs are, they alone cannot overcome the biggest barrier, which is unfortunately stigma. Stigma around mental health, stigma around seeking help, stigma around what it means to be a man. Too many men still believe that asking for support shows weakness. Too many fear being judged. Too many think they will be letting their families down if they admit they are struggling. But in truth, speaking up is a sign of strength and a sign of responsibility and courage. Every Australian can play a part in breaking down that stigma. Movember promotes a simple and effective method called ALEC. Ask, listen, encourage action and check in. Ask a mate how he is really going. Listen carefully without rushing to fix or judge. Encourage actions such as talking to a GP, calling a support service or opening up to somebody close. And check in again later, because one conversation is not the beginning, and it is just a beginning, not an end. These small moments all matter. These conversations save lives. Workplaces can do even more by encouraging open discussions, providing mental health training, offering flexible work arrangements, building supportive environments and promoting early intervention. Employers can help reduce risk and create healthy cultures. Workplaces that value mental health do not just protect workers, they build stronger, safer and more productive teams. Our communities also play a powerful role. When men feel connected to family, friends, culture or community, they are healthier and safer. When men feel isolated, unconnected or ashamed, their risks increase significantly. Strengthening social connection through sport, volunteering, culture, clubs, men's sheds or community groups is often one of the most effective ways to protect men's well-being. Men themselves can also take practical steps to protect their mental health. Sleeping well, eating well, staying active, limiting alcohol, spending more time with mates, reconnecting with hobbies, reaching out early when something feels wrong, and get the help to build the resilience, balance and well-being. But when things get tough, support is always available. Lifeline, Beyond Blue, Men's Line, the Suicide Callback Service, 1300 Yarn, Kids Helpline and Headspace are ready to assist any hour for any reason. These services provide confidential and non-judgmental support, and we need to make sure we keep getting people to reach out to that. Deputy Speaker, Mental Health Month is not just a date on the calendar, it is something that should be looked at every day of the week. And I urge every male out there to make sure that you are looking after your health. You are looking after your mental health the best you can, because mental health and physical health come hand in hand. If we're struggling, we need to be talking to our GPs. Get out, see your GP. Do yourself a favour on your birthday. Book in an appointment with your GP, make it normal to see them, get a blood test and talk about your mental health. If you are struggling, reach out because help is available. Please make sure you do it. And remember, it's not weak to speak. Thank you.